It's 7:08 in the morning. Today is March 9th, 2016, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It is overcast, birds are still chirping, and it looks like it's probably gonna rain again. And I'm up. Slept for maybe 4 or 5 hours total. That's been an issue for a good portion of my life. That's nothing new. I thought I wanted to do videos about making beats, showcasing skills and talent, and putting out something to promote a company that I'm working on and a company that I'm very close to saying is completed, or at least one phase of it is done. And I thought about it and I said, no, because that doesn't really accomplish, I guess, a greater goal for me that I kind of want to pull off if I can. So instead, I'm just going to do something a little different and just run with it, and we'll see what happens from there. I have been involved in music making for a long time. I didn't start to really care or know what music is until I was about 6 or 7. I knew what it was before, but it was stuff that just played in the house. I didn't really care for it or start to appreciate it. I didn't start to really understand the value of it until I was about 6, and it was hip hop. And then it kind of grew. It went from appreciating it to wanting to know more about it, from wanting to know more about it to wanting to learn it, and then from learning it to wanting to do it in some shape, form, or fashion. Whether it was just playing instruments, or whether it was making CDs, or whatever the case was. And that's how I basically got involved with making music. It grew like that. It grew from listening to the songs on the radio and watching the music videos to buying the CDs, buying the tapes, cassettes at the time, to reading the credits and seeing who did what, who made what, how was this made, to learning what ended up becoming for me people's production styles, or listening to how they produced music and listening to the little nuances of songs, and then wanting to be those same people making the songs and not knowing how exactly to do it other than playing instruments, but knowing that that's what I wanted to do. Then it went from playing the music, not knowing how to play music, to just picking it up by ear, playing what I heard songs on the radio or music videos, playing those songs by ear, just not having any clue really about chords and things like that, but just knowing if I can just find the first note, and then once I find the first note, the second, and then going from there. Then learning chords, then learning that it would probably help you to play with 2 hands, which I never really picked up on. Still learning though. And about that time is when I'm about 16, and my mom bought me a keyboard. She wanted me to play trumpet in 8th grade. I wanted to play the drums. There was too many people to play the drums, so I had to pick something else, and I picked the trumpet. And she wanted me to play that. She really loved me having a trumpet. But once that effectively fell through, the love of music, making it, and all those different things never went away. And so she had bought me my first keyboard, and it was just a joy. It was just, it was one of those things where basketball is probably the first thing I've ever loved and gravitated towards. And it was on par with that almost immediately when she bought that keyboard. It was one of those things where I woke up every day with the mindset of, once I get done with school, once I get done with my homework or whatever the case is, whatever's going on in my day, I want to find time to play basketball and play on this keyboard. I want to find time. I want to make time. I want to get better, to learn it, to be a part of it a little bit more day in and day out. And then it went from just playing it, and then I had been asked by a former brother-in-law, my sister's ex-husband, if myself, cousin, different family members, if we were serious about wanting to make it. And I was like, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, I'd done some little bit of writing here and there, but I never really focused on it as something to do seriously. And then once we got into the studio for the first time and started working and kind of getting an idea of how this works, it's like, this is cool, this is fun, yeah. I get to keep making music and keep doing stuff like this, yeah, sure. And so, and just like everything else as far as music had gone, it went from a love of playing the stuff on my keyboard at home, not really knowing how to record or create, to, again, the same process over with the studio. Okay, you see it, this is how it's done. Okay, you take part in it first, you just do it because this is how you record songs, this is what people do. It went from seeing it happen and kind of being involved in it but not really knowing anything about it, but just knowing you wanted to be involved in it, to now I want to learn how to do it, and then I want to get better at it, and then I want to do this on a daily basis. And it was still, even through high school, different points in my life when I didn't know what I wanted to do, college, different ups and downs in my life, it still rings true even to this day. I still look at myself like, two things I want to make sure I find time to do every day is find a way to somehow incorporate basketball and incorporate music into my daily being every day. And it's interesting because now we're at this point where it's like, I don't know if it's a cycle, I don't know if it's just deja vu, I don't know what it is, but again, regardless of whatever I'm going through or whatever point I'm at in my life as far as working or school, whatever the case is, I always still every day still feel like that. And I've gone through some writer's block, I've gone through some moments where I wasn't sure if the love and the passion was still there, and yet every day I still try to find some way to incorporate music into my day. And I think that is unique. I think there is a beauty, I think there is a love that is there that can't really be explained, but when you're passionate about something, or when you have taken a connection to something, I mean, it takes a lot of work to really break that, but it can be broken just as fast as it was developed. And I mean, what else can I say? I'd always heard, whether watching interviews or listening to interviews or hearing, the same people I grew up, listening to, and picking up on their tendencies and what they do, or just studying their sound and studying whatever it was they were doing. I've always heard the people who produced music, created music, whatever the case was, they all said, when you're making music, and you get into a certain zone, it's a feeling that you can't describe. It is a certain place that it takes you to that not everyone is privy to go. And all you know is when you're there, you want to stay there for as long as you can. It's kind of the same in sports. You always heard about Michael Jordan being in the zone, or Kobe Bryant being in the zone, or you know, different players in different sports being in the zone, in that area where they feel like they're at their best, and they're gonna make every play and every shot, and just the parallels between the two. And it's just, once I got that feeling the first time, I couldn't even put it into words for you. It was just, you just sit in awe and amazement of where you were and what you put together for yourself. And of course, as time goes along, you kind of sit there like, what I made then isn't as good as what I made now in a lot of cases, or it could have been better. But the feeling that you get when you were there and in that place is, again, you really don't even know how to put it into words. And I think even with my different struggles, that's what keeps me going back. That's what keeps me wanting to continue every day to find a way to incorporate music into my life, is because the joy that comes out of it when you've experienced it, the feeling when you get to that place, into that zone of creation, and it's almost like your energy, your brain waves, sound waves, your frequencies, whatever you want to call it, are in sync with something greater than you, that you can't really describe what it is either, but you just know there's something on the same path and on the same wavelength as you that is pulling this out of you, and you want to keep it there, and you want to execute, and you want to, everything that you can get out of it and put together for it and see what the result is, you want to do it for as long as you possibly can. And ultimately, I know the goal for a lot of people is to become famous, to make a lot of money, to, cars, women, lifestyle, notoriety, all these different things. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with those things, but I genuinely believe, because I've seen it and because I've been in it, if those things come, which we all want to be able to make money off of what it is we do and what it is we love, great. You can become sufficient doing something you love and you're passionate about, and it doesn't feel like work on a daily basis. That's ultimate. But it's almost like, for me, I genuinely feel like as long as I can find a way to incorporate that in my day somehow, some way, every day, as long as I can express myself somehow, some way through this, as long as I can help someone else express themselves somehow, some way through this, and as long as I can kind of make a mark and let other people hear it and share it and hopefully give them the same feeling through what I've made that I got in making it, I genuinely feel like what I'm doing, what I'm attempting to do, it wouldn't be in vain. It wouldn't be for naught. It wouldn't be just a waste of time doing something. And I think that's part of why I keep going back. No matter how much I struggle with it, no matter how much, you feel like you're disconnected, no matter how much you fight through the different ups and downs, or fight through the blocks, or embrace the blocks, no matter how much you sit there and say to yourself, now, I've never had this struggle before. Why is it this bad? Or why is it for this long? Or why am I not connecting with it like I used to? I think the struggle in it, trying to get it back, or trying to find it again, or trying to recapture or redevelop, or whatever the case is why I go back. Because I know when I get it back, again, it just is what it is. And I think for a lot of people, that's when you know you love something. That's when you know you love what you're doing, or what you're involved in, or what you're surrounded by, or involved, just whatever. That's when you know it really is like a love. Because the work that it takes to stay involved, the work that it takes to develop it, to keep it, all those things, you don't mind it. You don't mind going through the struggle. You don't mind going through the heartache, the trials. You don't mind going through racking your brain at all times of the day trying to find that one note, or that one chord, or that one progression, or trying a bridge when you've never tried a bridge, and trying to build one, or trying to find that right line, or that right bar, or trying to find that right word to complete your thought, trying to complete your thoughts on paper, or on computer, or Pro Tools, or ADAT, or whatever, trying to make sure you get that right thing that expresses what you're trying to say, and going through everything top to bottom, east to west on this earth, until you find it and you get it. And then once you get it and you lay it down and you express it the way you fully want it to. Love.